10th, 2018. If you just, Richard Riley present.
John Regan, present.
Tom Cooney, present.
John Devereaux here.
All right. So we have a 4-member board. I don't know if you're familiar with how the zoning board works, but for a full quorum, it's 5 persons on the board. At this point, I'm not expecting a 5th person. So you have the right to either, what you need to do is get a majority vote. So it has to be 3 persons. With only 4, that means you've got, 1 no and the rest all yays. With 5, your odds are a little bit better. So you have the right to say, look, I want to postpone till next month. Or you have the right to say, well, I'm comfortable with moving forward with a 4-person board.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me, first of all, on the agenda tonight, we have case number
Is that in the article?
excuse me?
Case?
Is
The
it in the
article?
article? Is it in the article?
7.
Brian and Shayna Dodge, okay. 2018-07, Brian
Nice.
and Shayna Dodge. Location of property is 10 Huron Drive, Litchfield, New Hampshire, 03052, map 17, lot 42. The applicant is seeking a variance from LZO section 310.00 to allow construction of a proposed detached shed, the construction of which would encroach into the side setback requirement. So what you'll basically do, you've already filled out your application, obviously, so what you're going to do is present the same information that you provided in the application. Your obligation or burden is to explain why you think that, you should not have to or be granted relief from the variance as it's written. Yeah, please, if you wouldn't mind, and then just state your name and address for the record.
And do you want me to read it word for word, or is it?
No, you don't have to read it word for word.
Okay,
You
it's pretty
can certainly paraphrase as you go along, please. Yeah.
Brian Dodge, 10 Heron Drive. Me and my wife own that property for the last 5 years. It is a 2013 Colonial with a 2-car attached garage.
Sounds familiar?
Yeah, pretty common. Yeah, it is on a dead end street, and we have no neighbors to the right side of us. What we do have is two neighbors that live behind us. So it's one of the exhibits I gave. You'll see it's kind of a flagpole lot where they have a shared driveway, about 600 feet, probably 700 feet, that goes out behind my house, where there's 2 5-acre lots where they are.
All right, let me stop you there. Which
Let's
exhibit
find
are you
this,
referring to, just so we can get so it's the tax map, basically, that we're looking
Yeah,
at?
tax map would
Probably.
be a good one. Yeah.
So which one's you? Which one are you?
1742.
1742 up here. Okay, this is the subject property.
Right there.
So they're looking to put the shed to.
And you're putting the shed toward the rear of that property?
No,
right,
I'm
to
putting
the
it
right.
to the right side of the garage.
And this view of those looks like they've got the driveway right along here.
So that's a drive. It's going up there.
There's a couple of different exhibits.
Oh, that's a,
This
is
one
that
here,
54500? Is that a driveway up into 1747?
It's actually, they have, you'll notice 2 slivers.
Yeah.
Right.
They actually straddle that with the driveway. So there's another drawing in there that shows the front
Feel free
page
to
right
hold it
there.
up and show us if you.
Okay, yeah, he actually didn't give me a copy of that when he made a copy, but it's that one right
Did I
there.
not?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah, so that one right there is just a hand sketch, but you'll see that the actual driveway staggers that both of their lots. And there's also some pictures and such, but it's 40 acres, or not 40 acres. It's 32 feet from the edge of my garage to my property line.
Yeah.
But there's an additional 8 feet to their driveway of their land. So, but for all like kind of viewpoint, it looks like 40 feet of my land, even though 8 feet of it's theirs. And I maintain that grass. I have irrigation going over it. I fertilize it and I mow it. So, but it is 8 feet of their land. So from the house, the edge of the garage to the driveway is 40 feet. Yep.
Garage,
Yeah.
driveway.
Yep.
Got it. Driveway, got it.
And there's a 20-foot setback. So that only leaves me with 32 feet. That only leaves me 12 feet to build. And I want a 12-foot wide garage shed. So if I put a 12-foot wide shed in that 12-foot area, it's against the house. And that's going to prevent me from maintaining those two walls. It's also going to prevent me from accessing that walkway that's already there and the gate to the backyard that's already there. In the backyard, I have a pool, a patio, a trampoline for the kids, tree fort, that kind of stuff. So that's our main exit and entrance to that rear yard. So there's a couple different drawings, a couple different pictures, but you'll see it's kind of a cleared area, which is just really grass, a walkway, and some trees. And then there's an existing white vinyl fence that's there that goes out roughly 24, 25 feet. And the shed would not extend past that. It would give a good 15 feet, 16 feet from the edge to the driveway. Yeah.
So that means the shed be in front of that fence.
Yeah, front of that and not to exceed
How
the
many
right.
feet out roughly from the garage?
12 feet from the
12 feet
garage.
from the garage. And how many feet from the property line?
It would be 8 feet at that point from
8 feet from the property line,
Yeah,
12
but-
feet from the house and the garage.
and
in
15
between.
feet from their driveway. Yeah, but 8 feet from the property line technically.
How many from the driveway? 50?
15.
15, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that first page that you have right there
Yeah.
shows an expanded view of that.
I saw that.
And is this going to be on a foundation or in blocks?
Just on blocks, on gravel. I'm gonna lay down a little more gravel on blocks. It's
What makes it permanent? Why?
well, it's over 200. It's going to be 12 by 18.
Yeah, I think they do.
It's over
it by
that size requirement, and it's within it's in the setback. So again, the reason for it is because I want to build it on the edge of that 12 foot that I have available, and I want it to not be against the house, because against the house is ugly. Number one, it's aesthetically not pleasing. Number two, it blocks the walkway, it blocks the gate, which is our main access to the backyard. It's also going to look more.
What's over here? What's this?
That is Litchfield Town land.
town land up here.
Yep.
Is it swamp? Is it?
It's all wooded. It attaches to Musquash. It attaches to the state forest.
So this is not buildable?
It's Litchfield owned land. It's viewed as conservation land. It's not technically conservation land. It's
It's
tax.
not likely to be anything up there. It's not like you're going to be,
What, on the other side of the driveway, you
no
mean?
one's going to put a house up there right next to your garage.
That's a 20-acre parcel attached to another 20-acre parcel that's attached to another 20-acre parcel that attaches to conservation land on one side and state forest on the other. So, Kevin Lynch owns one of the lots back there. So there's another 20-acre lot that attaches to Aldrich. So it's a huge buffer, a corridor between state forest and the Musquash conservation land.
So Musquash is over here somewhere.
Yep, on one side and the state forest on the other. It is a dead end street, and that
So
is.
but in and of, it's town property, but it's not conservation land. in and
So
of
when I
itself.
bought the house, I was told it was town property. Come to find out, it's tax deeded back in the 80s, I guess, and it's town owned, and it does attach the two as a corridor.
What did the building inspector say?
I didn't get a building permit because I was told not
You
to
denied
bother.
it.
You have a denial
So, but
letter.
where's the
Well, I
denial?
never actually talked to Kevin. It was after he left, but I talked to the front desk and I talked to Joan.
Yeah.
Do we have a copy of your actual building permit where you wrote the denial on it? Because that's
No,
all
because I
we
never
need
submitted
to-
one because they told me not to. They told me to wait to the variance.
Can't-
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's basic math, just like the
You have
variance.
nothing to decide.
Well, just like the variance he did last week, last month. I mean, he didn't have a denial either. But
Oh, you didn't?
well, you talked to Kevin, but it's basic math. It's 20-acre side setback. I have 32 feet.
Yeah. No, I understand. It's just that
Technically, we are supposed to have a denial.
I mean, I did talk to Joan. I
we're a
talked to
ruling body to overrule somebody else's decision. If we
Yeah.
don't have that decision on paper, we don't have a decision to rule against.
okay. Well, with the lack of Kevin, is that created?
That's probably the question.
And I did speak to Joan about it when I did the initial application, which I withdrew that one and I resubmitted it. And my wife dropped it off with the woman who works out in the front.
Drop what off? A building
That
permit?
application. No, that.
Oh, just the application
Yeah.
itself, yeah. Yeah, this application follows to John's point. this
No, I mean, I asked that
application would
specifically
follow
to
the
Joan
denial.
when I asked.
Well, last meeting was September 12th, right? And if you look at the minutes, it says that the letter of denial was read aloud.
It's in the, it was, in that particular case, they had a building permit and it just had one sentence under the comments and it says denial for 310.00.
Yeah,
So we just don't have
he didn't
that
elaborate on that.
here. But
Okay.
yeah.
But it was a letter
has been
from
sketchy. I've
Kevin
mentioned it to
Lynch.
Troy a couple times.
you know, the lot itself too, it has a wetland buffer in the rear. So there's very limited spaces I can build a shed because of this wetland buffer. It's not actual wetland, it's wetland buffer. So I can't put anything else really out back because of the location of the house, the septic, the pool.
And not within the gate, the white fence?
Well, technically, there could be one where the trampoline is, but it would be almost overwhelming that area because there's a patio, there's a pool, there's a pump for the pool. The gate's right there. In order to get the utility and the aesthetics, that's the best spot.
Do you mind me asking a question?
No, please keep
Do
going.
you, did you get any response back from the owners on that side?
I've talked to all of the neighbors, and I talked to the person across the street, the two out back, talked to the one to the left of me.
Anyone that owns that property right there? The one that you're putting up against the sliver
The
there?
two that live back there, yes, I talked to both of them.
So, okay, those two are these up here, right?
Yep.
They're okay because they don't have any property up there. It's just the driveway.
Well, that's two lots that abut me.
Oh, and you don't abut the town, do you?
No, there's two lots.
Ah, I gotcha.
So I reached out to both of them.
So that should be on the other map then, right?
Reached
That's
out-
a,
So
that's
the
a
two slivers
sliver.
are owned by the two people behind you.
Correct. And they
Okay.
have a shared driveway over the sliver.
Got it.
And I talked to both of them.
Got it.
They're both okay with it.
It's a hell of a driveway.
How wide is those two slivers? Any idea?
Might be on.
What are they technically right of ways or something?
No, they look like slivers. They did, and they've agreed to share to put a driveway on top of the both of them, right?
Yeah, I mean it's actually quite wide if you count the one closest to the Litchfield land. You know, the sliver in between, the closest to my lot, is smaller than the other one, but you know it's a pretty wide area.
I mean, would you estimate how
aesthetically,
wide?
Based on this, I would say it's 35 feet.
Okay.
Given the measurement on between my lot and the house.
Okay.
The the shed's not going to extend past the existing vinyl fence, which they've seen for years, for the last 4 years, whatever the long that those houses have been back there. It'll actually look like it belongs there because of that fence. I've done a lot of work over the years to make that yard look nice and presentable because they drive by me. I've installed 11 trees. I've done irrigation. I've done grass.
they paying you for that? They should. Pay you.
No, but I care what they think back there. I enjoy my neighbors. I want them to like going past my house every day. And this shed kind of keeps in that same theme. It's it's taking consideration them going by it every day. It's going to be built by a company within a day or two. So it won't be a long, drawn out project that never gets finished.
So you put irrigation in part of those slivers?
The irrigation is probably within my part, but
Okay.
it obviously has a 30-foot or whatever.
So it waters their
Yeah,
property?
yeah, it waters right up to it. Yeah.
Okay. And you actually mow those slivers
I mow
up to
it,
the
yeah.
driveway?
Both sides of their driveway?
No, not the other side. Just my side.
Just your side of the sliver.
Yeah, yeah. No, there's not. The grass isn't really taken on the other side.
Oh yeah, I forgot that you did answer this. How far from the edge of your property to the driveway?
To their edge of my property to their driveway, 8 feet.
8 feet.
So there's 8 feet in that. Okay, and then there's how many feet left between the garage, the shed, and your property?
8.
8.
No,
It's not the garage, it's a shed.
No,
That's
hold
what
on,
he's
hold
really
on.
talking
It's
about.
8 feet from property line to the edge of the driveway.
Correct.
8 feet to the property line to the edge of their driveway. Yep.
And so how many feet is it between the shed,
The proposed shed.
proposed shed,
Oh,
and your
so
property line?
It'll be 15 feet, maybe 16, likely 16 feet. If I was going
16. So 16 plus 8 to the edge of their driveway.
no 16 total.
So it's 8.
Yeah, so it's 8.
8 plus 8. Yep.
Yeah, because he needs 12 feet of variance.
It's yeah.
Yeah. So that drawing right there
20 feet.
is
20
the
feet.
best
Mhm.
view.
So 8 and then driveway.
Which is essentially the current vinyl fence is 15 feet from that driveway now. And I didn't put it purposely on my property line. I put it 8 feet back to give them additional space for snow and to give them a little more.
That's actually a good idea.
so it's not
Right?
such a corridor for them.
Yeah.
So I kept that in mind then. I also didn't do a white picket fence. I mean, a wooden picket fence. I did a vinyl one to make it nicer. So, I constantly have that idea in my head to do something nice. And plus it looks good for me. And it's a nicer neighborhood. You got to kind of make it look nice. So the shed's in the same idea. It's going to be a nice shed. It's going to fit the spot. I've been an appraiser for 2 decades and I have, aesthetics in mind. I have marketability in mind. Also, I got a degree in architecture, and so I think about design. So it's going to fit. It's not going to look horrible. You know, if moving it towards the house will look bad, I'd also limit that gate.
It's a math problem. We understand, right? So help me understand now that, okay, so we have 8 feet for the edge from the shed to the property line, 8 feet from the property line to the edge of the driveway. How wide is the driveway?
That
Roughly?
I'm thinking it's a one width, so it's
13 feet.
yeah,
No.
14 feet, maybe 15 feet.
Usually they're what?
It's
11,
not-
11.
Driveway.
Standard width, 11, 12 foot.
Okay, it's very narrow. I mean, it's definitely a
Garage door is
car.
9 feet.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't squeeze by 2 cars. You'd have to pull over
That's
or
like-
back.
Okay, so let's say 12 feet.
It's not a double car. So it's
Okay,
gonna be about
so there's
11,
12 feet. And what would you say is the dimension of the non-grassy land on the other side to the property line?
It's hard to say where exactly that property line is because it goes right into the woods. But based on this, I can tell that using that same dimension, that 32 feet from the edge of my garage to the edge of my property line, and using that as a scale, it looks like it's about 32, 35 feet from
Where to where?
my property line, the edge of that arrow where it says 32 feet, to their second property line on this drawing here.
Driveway, property line, driveway in the middle, from edge to edge, 32 feet.
I think it's 32, 35 based on this drawing. Yeah.
So let's say 32
Oh,
feet
oh,
from there to there, okay? And the driveway sits in the middle, straddles.
I wouldn't
the
say
middle.
it's directly in the middle, no.
Okay,
But I know
straddles both.
Yeah.
But 32 feet from edge to edge of the 2 property lines.
based on this, this
Yeah,
survey. Yep.
Yeah, using the map dimensions, right?
Yep.
So then it's, and I'm trying to talk this through, and right. So 32 feet plus 8 feet to the edge of your garage. I'm thinking from the far
The
property
far
line
edge, yep. It'd be 40 feet at least for that Litchfield lot.
To the shed, you mean?
to whatever might get built on that other
The shed.
property. So
They'd have to come back.
and they'd have to come
20
off
feet.
20 feet there and
Six,
build
right.
something thereafter.
At
So
minimum
you're-
60 feet.
So you're looking at 32 plus 8, 40 plus 20, 60 feet before the next piece of property gets built.
Correct.
Structure. Yeah,
If something gets built over there. Yeah.
if something were to be, yeah, put right on that spot. That's a good point, I think. There's a picture of a shed in here. What is that? Is that a representation of what you're looking to build?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of drawings I did on, there's a couple of pictures where the shed will go. It's probably dark as in the copy.
Yeah, they did come out dark.
There's
Time to play with this.
there's a like a 3D rendering of how it will look and the trees and the fence. I don't know if that one came out okay, but it's one right here.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. And then this picture here is your property with the fence that you're talking about.
Yep.
And the shed would essentially kind of sit right on.
It would sit where that rock is, but it wouldn't extend past the fence at all towards the right, you know, so it wouldn't.
Tree got to come down too.
Nope,
Right
no.
on line, essentially with the true.
Yeah, it's just the perspective. No, this tree would be fine.
Are there trees right along here as shown in the picture?
Yeah, I planted 11 trees total, 8 of them being, or see, 7 of them being over there. So, yeah. They're roughly probably 15 feet tall.
So 12 by 18 is good size shed.
Yep.
What are you planning on using that for?
I have a garage that only fits 1 car right now, even though it's 2 car. I have tools. I have snowblower. I have generators. I have kids' bikes. I have trash cans. That my goal is to get everything out of there so that I can have a clean, clutter-free garage. Have a place to do projects in the garage. I have 4 cars because I have a government work car, and my wife has a car. I have a car, and we have a fun car. So it'd be nice to have 2 cars in the garage like it's intended. I also don't like the trash in the garage and generators, and it is not convenient. The snowblower is not convenient. So last year my wife didn't park in the garage, and so I ordered a garage this year. I think the unique nature of it being a dead end street, and not having a house to the side of me, the side setback is obviously to avoid crowding and have some sort of distance and barrier. And we're not going to have this even with that shed there, because first of all, there's no house there. Second of all, it's still a visibly good distance away from their driveway. So as they pass through, it's no more crowded than the fences. It's going to look in place. It'll be additional bushes put around it eventually too. It'll fit in, after the first month of seeing it. Like you said, it's not a permanent structure either way.
All right, why don't we, unless there's more questions, I think we do need to go through the individual criteria. I don't need, you don't necessarily need to read it verbatim, but summarize each of the points here. And then what we will do is if there's any more questions, we'll continue to ask those questions. But at some point, the way the process works, once we've gotten through the Q&A process with you, we can ask if there's any other public input. Since you're the only one here, I'm not expecting any public input.
Okay.
We would close public input after that, go into deliberation and move forward. So if you don't mind, just work your way through the
Okay. Obviously,
criteria, starting with the variance should not be contrary to public interest because.
okay. I'll try to summarize.
Yeah, please.
It's so wordy that,
Best you can.
yeah,
Good enough.
I'm pretty wordy in life in general.
Oh, it's helpful.
Yeah. So the request for up to 12-foot variance will not negatively impact my neighbors, public interest, or create an unsafe situation. In fact, it'll help create a clutter-free yard and driveway, allowing greater storage capacity to our belongings, free up space, allowing parking of 2 cars in the garage. It'll make the neighborhood more orderly and yard more orderly. A lot of thought has been put into the design and location of the shed. It will be aesthetically pleasing, consistent with the character of the house and the neighborhood. I am on a cul-de-sac. It'll be over 100 feet from the front of the house, from the road, from the front road. So it's not close to the road at all. It'll be a distance from their driveway that's, I feel is adequate, and they don't seem to have a problem with it. Let's see. It'll not interfere with them getting access or any future emergency vehicles getting access or snow blowing or snow plowing. And it ultimately raises the assessed value of our home, which benefits the town and taxes.
All right.
The next one,
Yep.
spirit of the ordinance is observed because the request for up to a 12-foot variance, the side setback is not going to negatively impact the spirit or intent because I'm located at the end of a cul-de-sac. The shed's going to be over 100 feet from the road. There's no actual homes on the side of my lot. So the abutters, it's not encroaching or crowding of the area. The remaining side setback of the edge of the detached shed will be more than adequate to provide clearance and privacy as they drive past my home and down their shared driveway. It's not going to extend past the existing fence, and there'll be no noticeable impact, interference, or crowding in this area. Again, I state that I've been aware that my neighbors have to drive by my lot every day, and I try to make the area aesthetically pleasing. The design of the shed and the location of the shed will keep this in mind. The side setback will not threaten the character, privacy, safety, or general design appeal of the neighborhood or negatively impact the public. Substantial justice is done because granting the variance of the side setback will allow us to build a 12 by 18 shed that would be adequately sized to allow for convenient storage for items like a generator, snowblower, trash cans, personal tools, sporting equipment, compressor, etc. It'll free up space in my existing garage and allow for 2 cars to properly park in there. The shed design and location has been discussed with our abutters, and no one has expressed any issues. The intent of the side setback, which is presumably to help avoid crowding between homes and create a level of openness, would not be hampered since there are no homes directly to the side of my home, and there will at least be 15 feet of open grass from the edge of the shed to the nearby shared driveway where they utilize to get to their houses. These benefits to us as a homeowner do not present any harm to the general public or any individuals. Number 4, values of surrounding properties are not diminished. Like I said earlier, I've been an appraiser for almost 20 years. And sheds in generally don't have a whole lot of impact and value anyways, unless they're an eyesore or they're over improved. But I can assure the ZBA that there's going to be no negative market reaction that would diminish the values of the surrounding properties. The design and location of the shed doesn't look out of place. It meets the expectations of area homes and it contributes to the amenities of the home. It can contribute to curb appeal when done properly and the character and surrounding other values of the neighborhood. And further, the shed will increase the assessed value, which ultimately benefits the town in form of taxes. Number 5, literal enforcement of the provisions of the ordinance would result in unnecessary hardship because strict adherence to the 20-foot side setback would result in our inability to build an adequately sized shed in the only practical area we have on our lot to build a shed of this size. Denial of the variance would result in either a shed that is too close to the existing garage, which is aesthetically awkward and limits access to the backyard, or a shed that is not conveniently located and difficult to access, or a smaller shed that is not adequately sized for all our storage needs. Further, I'd like to note that this variance request is a reasonable request that would not negatively impact the character, appeal, or overall feeling of the neighborhood, abutters, or general public. So, I didn't really paraphrase too much, but
No, it's fine. Quick question on the shed. Height wise, we're talking about just
it's
a
8-foot walls,
Okay.
10, 12 pitch.
Yeah.
So it's not a dinky one, but it's not massive either.
About 2-story
Yeah, not 2-story.
apartment over.
It'll look very similar to the one in that picture. That one might technically be a 7-foot wall.
No neon signs or anything like that.
Nope, it'll be tasteful. The next year it'll be painted in the spring. Once the wood weathers 6 months, whatever, we'll stain or paint it. And it'll have a door on the side and a couple windows. It'll match the shingles of the house.
So on the 3D graphic, I
Yep.
think that you had provided with the pool, and then you've got a fence line on the opposite side of the house. That's approximately where your property line is, basically, right?
It probably goes it probably goes another 15 feet.
Oh,
It
that's
slopes
really
down.
good, yeah.
That's in the program. It's cut for
And the reason you can't place a shed in that back corner on
there
your
technically
property is-
you could technically fit one there probably. The problem with that is it's not conveniently located and you have to go over the septic.
Oh, there's septic back
The
there,
septic's in the front yard, right by the edge of that porch, the septic and leach fields. But it also slopes down, and even trying to mow that area, getting a tractor up it, you start spinning out. And I did talk to my neighbor a year or two ago about putting in a shed there, and you could tell he wasn't too excited. He couldn't stop me probably, but he wasn't too excited. And it's ultimately not convenient at all over there.
You said you had spoken to the neighbors. Did you say you said they didn't submit letters, but they signed yours?
So 2 of my neighbors I spoke to in the last 2 days, they work all day, so they didn't get the certified letter. They keep missing it. So because I saw them in my street, I had them sign my letter. So the Langs are across at number 9, and Alvin and the Betancourts behind me, number 12.
Oh, that's what this is right
They
here.
just signed saying that they
Okay.
acknowledged it. Yeah,
So this is your.
that's my version of
I
it.
send certified letters. This is the one that went to him. So yeah, those neighbors.
Didn't know if it was
Also, you
needed,
need
but
copies of all.
So with these signatures, you're saying they're expressing their support.
they've acknowledged the receipt. We talked about it. Yep,
Okay.
they could care less, really. Couldn't care less.
Again,
Oh, you got another one of those
it's Google.
Google Earth?
The Google satellite view of it
Yeah.
makes it perfect.
And that's with the pictures being clear and printed in color, which I don't have a color printer.
Yeah.
You would really convey that.
Yeah.
It's just it's tough with.
This is the second week we've used this.
Black and
after
white.
how many years of being on the board?
Is that updated enough where it shows the houses out back
Well, it's summer. It looks like it's recent summer.
and grass? Yeah,
Yeah, green.
shows the pool and everything.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it shows the pool. Very nice.
Yeah. Getting access to that pool. There's the walkway right there, which is seen in the pictures. It's 4 feet from the house. There's a 4-foot walkway, so that's 8 feet right there, and then there's a 4-foot gate, or a little less than 4, the columns, and that's our main. 99% of the time, that's the way we go to the backyard.
Straight through, yeah.
The other side again is not convenient. It's around the side
How
of
many
the.
kids?
They're 12, like 2 boys.
Wait till they're 18. They're not going to use a pool again.
Oh, they already started. Yeah. And their friends come over, use it, then they barely use it.
Oh man, I've been in mine once this summer.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Tell them we should have done it above ground.
On the boat ground? Why? So you can take it down?
Yeah, when they leave, I could take it down.
Yeah.
Could have more space in the yard too.
Wow, that property across the driveways is Oh, so there is a house directly, I thought so there's a house at the end of those driveways. It doesn't,
Way up back.
way up back.
Yeah.
It's
It
two
doesn't
houses.
come around. They own that property, but they're using the back, right behind your house is their house.
So yeah, so it's long. It's a flagpole essentially, a long flagpole with two 4.5,
Exactly,
5 acre
yes.
lots. Yeah,
But that
and they're
property
sideways.
out there is massive.
So is that the one that were they recently in here for a variance?
No.
I thought I remembered Huron Drive.
Different cul-de-sac.
It's a big piece
Yeah.
of property back there.
Different cul-de-sac,
Yeah.
yeah. Any other questions from the board before we? And there's no one here for
I'm looking forward to public input.
Yeah.
On a side note too, I not that it matters to you, but I did put a deposit on the shed that's non-refundable because I didn't think it'd be a big deal. Honestly, I watched a lot of the other variance meetings, and
Yeah.
you guys are proving a lot worse than this.
From
Yeah.
Reed Ferry?
No, not from Reed's Ferry, but from a similar company that does them within a day or two.
Reed Ferry.
Can I confirm or deny where it's coming from?
Yeah, there you go. Okay, do I have a motion to close public input then?
I'll make that motion.
You have nothing else you need to add at this point? We'll ask you questions.
Just want to emphasize that that's really the best practical place, and it's most aesthetically pleasing. It also allows us to use that gate as it's intended in the walkway. It's paved walkway. It's not going to extend past the fence line. Neighbors don't mind it. It is going to give you that 60 feet to if that ever is built over there, and that's assuming there's actually a structure right there, which there wouldn't be. I'm assuming based on the design of any houses they did do out there, it would be just like ours, I'm sure. And they're not.
Well, that
gonna-
would be probably frontage, not side lot.
No, because that's a shared driveway. That's not a
It's a driveway, it's not a road.
That's not a road. It's a private driveway.
So it would be another, 20 feet.
Yeah, I mean, they're
So again, it's 60 feet between building structures.
So on this, your certified letter that you had your neighbors sign, one signature is Jennifer Lane.
Yeah,
of
number-
9 Huron Drive.
Yeah.
The other one is Alvin
Betancourt.
Betancourt of 12 Huron Drive.
He's the one directly behind me.
So they're the ones that are directly behind you?
Yep. Well,
where-
number 9's across the street from me,
Right.
and number 12 is directly behind me.
What's the other number
Cul-de-sac,
behind
if
you?
look
14.
across.
12 and 14 are the two behind you?
Nine's over here, 12's this one here,
And I spoke to
Oh,
14
yeah,
as
yeah.
well. I don't know if they signed for theirs yet or not.
14 is on the back.
And then number 8 I've talked to in face to face as well.
All right, so do we have a motion to close public input?
I did. We already did
We
that.
have the motion
Yeah.
seconded? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, wait a minute, I gotta ask a question.
Go ahead.
What's that on your neighbor's property back there?
Oh, that's the MTV Cribs pool. Now it's beautiful.
Is it really?
He originally dug out the yard and found this massive boulder. So he just kept expanding it. Awesome rock walls, gunite pool. It's beautiful. Patios. Yeah, it's a several year project, but it came out beautiful. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You never see anything like that.
When you say MTV Crimps, what do you?
Yeah, we joke around. We joke around it.
That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not really MTV Crimps.
Oh no, yeah, no, we joke about it. Yeah, no, it's
It isn't the grotto or anything like that.
yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah,
I can't even really tell what's that.
it's just exposed rock on the hillside, and it's
They just blasted all the water blasted all the rock to make it clean.
yeah, cleaned it up. They put additional retaining walls, additional planting groups, patios, gunite pool right against it, diving rock. Oh, it's great.
Very pretty.
A diving rock?
Yeah.
Okay, now we can close.
Oh, that's that right there. Okay.
I'll stop.
Next door.
Yeah, go ahead. So we have, I've read through the application itself too, and all the criteria, there's a lot of detail in there. I think there's enough information for me to make a decision.
I put my notes down already.
Yeah.
The only problem I have, I always struggle with these is the justice will
Yeah.
not be done.
That's the only one I have an
This
issue
is a
with.
self-imposed injustice, and it's difficult to. I just have a difficult time describing how to.
Well, it's what your definition of justice is, right?
How have
What
we
does it
been
mean?
wronged
Yes.
that this variance would get you injustice?
Well, because they're dictating how to run my life.
Oh, there's an angle.
Yeah.
The government is telling me what I want to do on my property.
Yeah.
Oh, I
That's
don't
an
know.
interesting area.
I mean, I
Oh, that's,
think
that's one, I'm saying that's my view.
Yeah,
I'm saying
yeah,
that that
yeah, yeah.
is an, is
That's why you
an
live in New Hampshire.
I think once you start evaluating the benefit,
Mhm.
you know, to the applicant, and now that doesn't outweigh the benefit to the public, then that to me says also implies substantial justice is done by
yes.
granting the variance. 'Cause
That's
you're
another
all-
way you flip it
you're granting
around.
somebody something that they need.
Right. If it's not an injustice, then therefore justice is served.
Yeah.
That's another way to look at it.
Yeah.
So you're right. Out of all of them, this is the weirdest one.
It's the hardest one.
I
That
agree.
being said, anybody want to make a motion? Or do you want to continue discussion?
Oh, no, I don't want to continue this.
No.
So one more thing. I believe from all the information, I was going to say evidence, that this is a unique situation. It's a unique lot.
Special conditions do exist.
And that's, I think, the important part of all of this is the special conditions, because of the fact that there's a driveway right next to yours and there's no buildable lot right next to, that would be infringed upon a shed, independent of how many walkways or fences. That doesn't really matter so much. It's what does it do for the other properties? And I don't think it affects it because it's a unique situation. So that's kind of my point of view.
Yeah, and placement in the backyard is very limited, and you
Yeah.
typically don't put sheds in the front yard.
Mhm.
I mean, as it is, you're essentially putting it in the front yard.
Yeah.
Side, yeah.
Yeah, it's not ideal. Yeah, it's the most ideal what's left.
So that's all I need to say. Thank you.
So you want to make a motion
So I'll make a motion to accept the variance,
to grant the variance?
grant the variance of 12 feet
12 foot
into the
20
20-foot setback.
setback. 12 foot you're comfortable with?
Yep.
We have a second for a request for variance or approval to request, approval of request for variance. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So the motion carries 4-0. So, I don't know if you're familiar, but technically you gotta wait 30 days before you start construction,
Okay.
but you can continue to move forward with your building permit and so forth. So,
Okay.
I will, within the next few days, produce a letter, that, essentially it's a notice of decision document that explains that we've approved the variance. There'll also be some minutes that are produced, but if there's any question about whether you've been approved, all you need to do is show the notice of decision, and they should be able to move forward with your building application from that point, unless there's other issues that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Then,
Great.
you may end up back here if that's
Yeah.
the case.
No.
But other than that, you should be all set.
Great.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You, good job.
Is there any other business?
I have nothing else on the agenda at this point. Laura's not here. Is there something we can assign to Laura while she's not here?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, I have a motion to adjourn. Second it?
Are we going to publicly thank our administrator?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Why praise? I think we should consider trying to lobby mileage for from dairy. I mean, it's-
Why, is that all it would take to get you to keep
No.
coming? Yeah, I'll pay for
But
that.
thank you, that's.
Sorry, we could pitch in.
We're losing our minute taker, so we're
Oh,
a
wow.
bit of a challenge here.
Mhm.
But yeah, congratulations on your new home.
Yeah, that's great news.
So you all have done, signed?
Closing Friday.
Wow.
Nice.
And we sold our house too, so everything's
That's
I'll bet.
really
at least
cool.
sale pending, so we're hoping everything goes through okay.
Did you even go through an open house, or did it just?
Did.
Did you?
Two.
I didn't even make it to an open house.
Oh, really? Wow, yeah, we did.
Great. You're all set.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thanks a lot.
Appreciate it very much. Good luck.
Thanks.
All right, so we had a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
The motion to adjourn was, right?
Yep.
Did you make it?
Oh, okay.
I did.
Okay.
So we have a second in from the other John. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
So we're adjourned at
7:50, 7:50-ish.
7:50. Took my glasses.
Very good, guys.
You can turn her off.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Keeble Man.
Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it.
I have a lead on it.
I like to hear it.